Ever just stop and think about a company like Amazon or Google and wonder how on earth did they get so big so fast? I mean, it feels almost impossible, right? Well, it's not luck, not even close. It's a very specific, high stakes strategy. Today, we're going to dive right into that playbook. It's called Blitzscaling. Okay, just to put this into perspective, let's talk about Amazon. Back in 1996, their revenue was around $5.1 million. Pretty good, right? Well, fast forward just 3 years to 1999, that number jumped to 1.64 billion. That is a 322 times increase. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. So the big question is, how is that kind of speed even possible? It completely breaks what we think of as normal business growth. Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to crack open the manual and go through the step-by-step process that lets a tiny startup become a global giant, and do it at, well, lightning speed. All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about why speed is the name of the game. Then we'll get into how you actually design your company, your rocket ship, for this kind of hypergrowth. After that, we'll cover the crazy new rules for launching, how you navigate the journey from small to huge, and we'll finish up by touching on the responsibility that comes with all this power. So, first things first, why this obsession with speed? I mean, in a normal business class, they teach you to be efficient, to get everything perfect. But here's the thing. In today's tech world, many markets are winner take most. It's a land grab. The first person to plant their flag gets the whole territory. Speed isn't just important, it's the only thing that matters. And that brings us right to the core idea: what is blitzscaling? It's when you deliberately, intentionally choose speed over efficiency. You embrace the chaos. You know things are going to break. You spend money like crazy. Why? All in the pursuit of insane, rapid growth. It's a conscious decision to run so fast that you're just a blur to your competition. This S-curve right here shows you exactly what that looks like. See, while your competitors are still slowly climbing up the curve, trying to master the current technology, the blitzscaler, the first scaler, has already leaped to the next curve. By the time everyone else figures out what's happening, you're not just ahead, you're playing a completely different game. And that is the ultimate prize. It's called the first scaler advantage. Once you're seen as the leader, this incredible feedback loop kicks in. Suddenly, all the best engineers want to work for you. All the top investors are throwing money at you. You basically become the sun in your own solar system, and everything and everyone starts to revolve around you. Okay, so that's the why. But what about the how? How do you actually build a company that can move this fast? Well, you can't just take a normal car and slap a rocket engine on it. You have to design a rocket ship from the ground up. So let's get into the blueprints. We're going to look at the 4 essential factors you have to bake into your business from day one. And here they are. You need a huge market to plan, a brilliant way to distribute your product, really high gross margins, and the magic ingredient: network effects. If you can nail these 4 things, you've got the fuel you need for a truly explosive launch. All right, number 1, market size. You've got to be aiming for something huge. There's a great story about Airbnb. When they were first pitching investors, they defined their market in a pretty small way. But a famous investor told them, no, no, no. Investors want to see B's, baby, billions. And it wasn't about faking it. It was about them realizing and then showing that their vision was big enough to chase a truly massive billion-dollar opportunity. Next up, factor number 2, distribution. And this is one that so many people get wrong. You can have the most amazing, life-changing product in the world, but if nobody knows about it or can get it, it doesn't matter. You've lost. You have to understand this. A good product with great distribution will beat a great product with bad distribution pretty much every single time. And the classic case study here is PayPal. They didn't just cross their fingers and hope people would tell their friends. No, they paid them. Refer a friend, you get $10, your friend gets $10. This created what they call incentivized virality, and the results were just insane. We're talking 7 to 10% growth per day. They literally paid their way to the top. Okay, number 3, high gross margins. What does that mean? It's basically the profit you make on each individual sale. The higher that number is, the more cash you generate. And that cash is the fuel for your growth fire. You can pour it back into more marketing, hiring better people, all the stuff that lets you go even faster. And you can see it right here in the numbers. Just look at software companies like Facebook or Google. Their margins are huge. Every new user costs them almost nothing, so it's practically pure profit. It's like having a money printing machine that you can use to fuel your own growth.
Even Amazon, with a lower margin, is still way, way ahead of any traditional brick-and-mortar store.
And last, but honestly, the most important one, network effects. This is the real secret sauce. It's when your product or service actually gets better for everyone the more people use it, right? A telephone is useless if you're the only one with one. Facebook is boring if it's just you. But when everyone's on it, the value is massive. This creates a competitive advantage, a moat around your business that is almost impossible for anyone else to cross.
All right, your rocket ship is designed, the fuel tanks are full. It's time to hit the big red button. But launching a blitzscaling company means you have to operate with a totally different mindset. You got to take that old, dusty business textbook and just toss it right out the window. It's time for some new rules.
And rule number 1 is a tough one to swallow. Launch before you're ready. Reid Hoffman, who founded LinkedIn, has this famous quote: "If you aren't embarrassed by the first version of your product, you've launched too late." Think about that. While you're sitting in your office trying to make everything perfect, your competition is already out there, talking to customers, and taking over the market. Okay, if you thought that was hard, rule number 2 is even crazier. You have to ignore some problems on purpose. When you're blitzscaling, it's like your whole world is on fire. There are 100 little fires burning everywhere. Customer complaints, bugs, server issues. You can't put them all out. You have to make a choice. Which small fires do you let burn so you can focus all your energy on the one giant fire that could actually burn the whole company down?
Now, let's be clear. This isn't about being lazy or just giving bad service. It is about absolutely ruthless prioritization. It's like being in a war. You have to focus on what will keep you alive to fight tomorrow. You simply don't have the luxury of fixing every little thing when your survival depends on speed. So let's say it's working. You're growing like crazy. It's total chaos, but you're still in the game. The next massive challenge is, how do you keep the whole thing from just collapsing under its own weight? This is where everything has to change. Your role, your team, the entire culture of the company.
You see, this kind of growth happens in stages. You start as a tiny family, maybe just a few people in a room. Then you grow into a tribe, then a village, a city, and if you're really successful, a nation of tens of thousands. And here's the key. The way you communicate, the way you make decisions, everything that worked at one stage will completely break at the next. Your job as a leader is to evolve just as fast as the company is. Which brings us to this really powerful metaphor for the cultural shift you have to make. You start out as a band of pirates. You're scrappy, you break the rules, you move fast. But you can't be pirates forever. To actually rule the ocean, you have to become the Navy. You need structure, discipline, coordination. It's a tough transition because you trade some of that freewheeling spirit for process, but it's that process that allows you to scale and truly dominate. And this leads us to a really important final thought. The playbook we've been talking about doesn't just build big companies. It builds incredibly powerful institutions that literally shape our daily lives, our societies, and when you have that kind of scale, you also have an immense amount of responsibility.
So you now have the blueprint. You know the steps to achieve massive, world-changing scale. This isn't just about making money. It's about building the future. So the real question you have to ask yourself isn't just if you can build something huge. The question is, what kind of future are you going to build with it?